Now, if we wanted to be negative about this, we could say, well, look, straight away when the fight's done, Shawn Porter announces his retirement. Does that not show that he already had retirement on the mind? When he stepped through the ropes, maybe even when he was fighting. He's got his podcast to go to. He is 34. Probably not as sharp as he used to be. But still, Terence Crawford becomes the first person to stop him. That does count for something. Porter did look pretty good in there. It was a close, kind of scrappy fight. Shawn was using those rhythm-disrupting charges of his. He was getting stuck in. Certainly wasn't afraid. Never is. He was incorporating some footwork and creating space between the two. Trying to switch it up, which he said was necessary. If you're going to try and beat somebody like Crawford, you have to come in with a multifaceted game plan. You have to show him a lot of different looks to get him to open up. Because Bud can do it pretty much all himself as well. Not the prettiest fight. There were a couple of head clashes. There were only a few really good exchanges between the two. But in the end, that finishing ability had the last say. Had Kenny Porter not intervened, I think Bud is stopping him anyway. Once he smells blood, right along there with Inoue, I think the two best finishers in boxing today, he just switches into assassin modes. And yeah, no doubt about it, that was more impressive than what Canelo Alvarez did to Caleb Plant. Shawn Porter is a proven warrior. So to put that exclamation mark at the end of the performance was a little bit special. When Porter got floored against Spence, he got right back up and said, let's go right back to work. When he got floored for the second time against Crawford, he hit the ground in frustration. There was an element of despair. He was a bit like, this just isn't working anymore. So the idea is onwards and upwards with Terence Crawford right now, who is also 34, who you feel has already wasted some years here with Top Rank, but hopefully he should be parting from them very soon. He pretty much said as much right to Bob Arum's face. Top Rank really is synonymous with stalling careers. They kept Floyd Mayweather until 2006. When he was around 29, he had to buy his way out of the contract. And right now, they're really stagnating the career of the monster Naoya Inoue, which isn't great to see. Crawford has to get out of there. That seems to be the plan. And seems to be the only way to possibly make the mega fight against other unified champion, Errol Spence. That is, of course, a fight we've all been waiting for since, at least 2017? It's a fight boxing fans deserve. And yet, if it does materialize, they're probably not going to be at the peak anyway. Bud is now 34. Spence is 31? He's just had some weird eye injury. They're very probably not going to be at the peak of their power. So now it's just a case of we're trying to salvage what's left of these tremendous welterweights. We don't want to see this one go by completely like, say, Kovalev-Stevenson did at light heavyweight. The other worrying thing I see, the other little obstacle, is the mixed signals I'm getting from Crawford. On one hand, he's saying, look, I'm getting rid of Top Rank. I'm going to secure the Spence fight. On the other, when certain reporters ask him about it, he's saying, look, I don't need that fight. He doesn't make me. You know, the whole... I don't know why fighters have that ego where they're like, look, I don't need this guy. I'm a champion. I'm going wherever I want. It's like, we're not trying to dictate to you. It's just, boxing is very simple. You have the highest rated competitors and we simply want them to match up. So if I was to look at things with a little bit more of the cup is half full perspective, I would acknowledge the fact that Crawford has kind of called out Spence again. He's apparently making it a priority and is also apparently leaving Top Rank. Those two things definitely are for the greater good. And as for Showtime Shawn Porter, if he is retiring, if he is going into that podcast more full time, you've got to wish him nothing but the best. He seems like a cool guy. He doesn't seem to be punchy at all. Not that he was a guy who got hit that much, but of course his style was all about war. There was a real integrity to his style. And perhaps in the future, when people look back, those box rec warriors, those younger fans who mistake all sport to just be ground down to statistics, which boxing really isn't, they will miss the point entirely with Shawn Porter. This is a guy who held his era to a certain standard. He pushed everybody. And how many fighters can you think of who fought such a tough collection of opponents as a prime Kell Brook, Spence, Thurman, and Crawford? That is really impressive. And the fact he pushed them all pretty close, stressed them all out, that says a lot about him. That shows he was a lot greater than his numbers show. So what do you make about the current situation at welterweight? We don't know when Errol Spence is going to be back in action, do we? Unless somebody knows something I don't. Crawford, he's making the right noises. He should be leaving Bob. Can we really see Spence Crawford being made next year? Because really, if it doesn't, we're just going to care that little bit less.